Since the military government assumed power in Burkina Faso, the nation has experienced a dramatic shift in its security landscape, marked by significant successes in countering the insurgency that once wreaked havoc across the country. These areas, including Lumana, Banfora, Houndé, and Boromo, represent some of the richest mineral resources in the country. But a recent discovery has made them even more valuable. Diamonds have been found in the streams flowing through these belts. On numerous occasions, enemy forces have targeted these regions, hoping to capitalize on their strategic value. However, each time the Burkina Faso military has swiftly and decisively countered these threats, launching operations to dismantle insurgent bases and ensuring the country's resources remain secure. Security simulation exercises like this have ensured optimum security across all strategic areas of the country. These drills, which involve coordination between military, law enforcement, and intelligence agencies, simulate a range of potential threats. The swift and decisive actions taken to fortify airports and strategic locations have not only safeguarded key infrastructure, but have also effectively prevented insurgents from carrying out any attacks in urban areas. Urban residents have expressed a sense of relief and renewed confidence in the government's ability to protect them. The security measures around urban centers have had a profound impact on daily life, with businesses able to operate more freely, schools remaining open, and people resuming their normal routines without fear of insurgent attacks. Burkina Faso's mineral-rich regions, particularly the highly coveted Birimian greenstone belts, have become an increasingly significant battleground in the country's ongoing fight against insurgents. These regions, including Lumana, Banfora, Houndé, and Boromo, are well known for their rich deposits of gold, but a recent discovery has made them even more valuable. Diamonds have been found in the streams flowing through these belts. This new development has added another layer of complexity to the already crucial task of protecting the country's mineral wealth. On several occasions, insurgents have attempted to exploit these valuable regions, hoping to capitalize on the abundant resources hidden beneath the surface. However, each time enemy forces have made moves to establish control, the Burkina Faso military has responded with swift and decisive action, launching operations to dismantle insurgent bases and restore order. This ongoing military vigilance not only secures the country's economic future, but also protects against extremist groups seeking to exploit the region's wealth for their destructive agendas. The Birimian greenstone belts are a key source of Burkina Faso's economic strength. As one of Africa's leading gold producers, the country relies heavily on these belts, which contain some of the world's richest mineral deposits. The recent discovery of diamonds in the streams of these rocks adds yet another layer of strategic importance to the already critical regions. This discovery, combined with the gold deposits, elevates the stakes for Burkina Faso, making the military's role in protecting these areas all the more vital. Each incursion into the mineral-rich zones of Lumana, Banfora, Houndé, and Boromo has been met with coordinated military action. Forces on the ground, supported by intelligence services, have moved swiftly to destroy insurgent bases, preventing them from establishing a foothold in these strategically vital areas. In one recent operation, insurgents attempted to infiltrate the diamond-rich streams, but the military's rapid deployment left their plans in ruins. For insurgents, controlling these regions would provide a massive source of revenue to fund further terrorism across the Sahel. But for Burkina Faso, the military's success in preventing these incursions has not only safeguarded the nation's resources, but also sent a powerful message of resilience. The country remains determined to protect its natural wealth, ensuring that its future remains in the hands of its people. The military remains ever vigilant, knowing that the fight for control of the Birimian belts is far from over. But with each operation, Burkina Faso continues to demonstrate its resolve to defend its sovereignty and safeguard its economic lifeblood from those who seek to undermine its stability. In a decisive move aimed at crippling insurgent supply chains, Burkina Faso's military has deployed what is being described as the mother of all bombs on enemy warehouse and logistics centers. The deployment marks a significant escalation in the ongoing conflict within the Sahel region, reflecting the increasing military capabilities and resolve of Burkina Faso's armed forces. The strike, carried out with precision, targeted a series of strategically important facilities believed to be operated by insurgent groups in the northern regions of the country. According to military sources, the secret armament of the Burkina Faso military was dropped on a complex of warehouses and logistics hubs that had been identified through weeks of intelligence gathering and surveillance. The operation, as reported, was meticulously planned and executed to ensure maximum impact on the enemy's ability to sustain their operations. The strike demonstrates Burkina Faso's commitment to eradicating the insurgent threat and restoring peace and security to the nation. Initial reports suggest that the bomb obliterated the targeted warehouses, reducing several logistics centers to rubble. Reconnaissance imagery shows the full extent of the damage. The military claims that the strike has significantly disrupted the supply chains of the insurgents, who rely heavily on these facilities for weapons, ammunition, and other essential supplies used by insurgents as far as Mali and Niger. Eyewitnesses in the nearby village of Djibo reported a massive explosion that shook the ground and lit up the night sky. "It felt like an earthquake," said one resident. "We saw a huge fireball rising into the air, and then there was a deafening roar. The next morning we could see the smoke and debris from miles away." The recent strike is a clear indication of Burkina Faso's determination to leverage advanced military technology in its fight against insurgency. The bomb, one of the most powerful non-nuclear weapons in existence, is designed to destroy hardened targets and infrastructure over a wide area. Its deployment in this context underscores the high stakes of the ongoing conflict and the lengths to which the Burkinabe government is willing to go to secure victory. As Burkina Faso continues its military campaign against insurgent groups, the recent strike is likely to have significant ramifications for the conflict dynamics in the region. The government has reiterated its commitment to pursuing a multifaceted strategy that includes not only military action but also efforts to address the root causes of extremism, such as poverty, lack of education, and governance issues. The deployment of the massive strike on enemy logistics, Burkina Faso's military marks a pivotal moment in the country's fight against insurgency. The Burkinabe government remains steadfast in its resolve, vowing to continue its efforts to secure a peaceful future for its citizens. In a coordinated and decisive military operation, the Burkina Faso armed forces launched a significant offensive against insurgent groups in the eastern region and along the border area with Mali. The operation, which mobilized both air and ground units, has resulted in the neutralization of several dozen attackers and the recovery of their logistics. Meanwhile, the military is moving quickly to train and increase the number of active personnel for the tasks ahead. For several weeks, the Rapid Intervention Battalion has been engaged in a daring operation in the forests of Kilgo. The cleanup effort extended to the edge of the eastern region, not far from the Linga Dam. The cornered insurgents, who had emerged from the forests of Kabanga, sought to confront the forces in the area of need. Air units were alerted to an unprecedented situation in the area. By the time they arrived, ground forces had already gained the upper hand over the enemy, who were attempting to retreat towards the forest of Kabanga. The fleeing attackers, some on foot and others on motorbikes, struggled to support each other in their escape. From the sky, the air units observed the wounded insurgents having difficulty fleeing toward their refuge. The airborne fighters prepared for an attack, executing a lightning strike on the fleeing column. The aftermath revealed numerous enemy casualties. Those who managed to reach the forest of Kabanga were also tracked, with a large bomb dropped on their position. Ground units continued their search and discovered approximately 100 insurgents at the battle site. Additionally, around 50 motorbikes, various types of weapons, and other war materials were recovered or destroyed during the engagement. As fighting continued along the border with Mali in the south of the country, a special contingent of aviators officially completed their rigorous training. The ceremonial presentation to the flag marked the end of their preparation, symbolizing their readiness to defend the homeland, even at the cost of the supreme sacrifice. The flag, which these young soldiers have the honor of being presented to, embodies their love and defense of the nation. It represents the legacy of sweat and blood bequeathed by their ancestors, and serves as a symbol of unity in both good and challenging times. The new aviators demonstrated their skills and military know-how in a showcase that emphasized their readiness to combat insecurity, including insurgency. The aim was to transform recruits into competent fighters, responsible citizens, and skilled riflemen. The primary role of these air riflemen is to secure Air Force installations and support ground forces. Beyond static security, they are also prepared for dynamic missions and ground operations. On the 1st of August, based on precise intelligence reports, it was confirmed that insurgents had settled near the border with Mali. Reconnaissance identified their exact location, including a significant command post. Observations from the sky revealed several attackers entering the command post. The airborne fighters prepared for another strike, effectively locking onto the target and hitting it with precision. A camouflaged pickup truck under a tree was also successfully struck. The operations are ongoing as the armed forces continue to dismantle insurgent networks in the region. The successful coordination between air and ground units has proven vital in gaining the upper hand over enemy forces and ensuring the safety and security of Burkina Faso eastern region. The combined efforts of these forces have dealt a significant blow to the insurgents, disrupting their operations and diminishing their capacity to threaten the region. This extensive operation underscores Burkina Faso's commitment to combating insurgency and securing its borders. The continued vigilance and swift action of the armed forces are crucial in maintaining stability and protecting the nation's sovereignty. This area, located approximately 100 kilometers from the border with Benin, had become a strategic hideout for the insurgents, constructing a network of tents and huts that blended seamlessly with the surrounding environment. Intense military engagements in the eastern region of Burkina Faso, as the National Defense Forces launched a comprehensive assault against terrorist groups entrenched in the area. A meticulously planned and executed operation has led to significant gains, cornering the enemy in all directions and delivering a substantial blow to their operational capabilities. A mixed marching battalion executed a successful ambush against a group of criminals operating within its area of responsibility. This engagement resulted in the neutralization of approximately 20 terrorists. In addition to the elimination of these hostile elements, the battalion seized a substantial cache of war equipment and logistical supplies, further crippling the enemy's ability to sustain prolonged conflict. In the days leading up to the ground operation, aerial surveillance played a crucial role in identifying and tracking terrorist movements. This area, located approximately 100 kilometers from the border with Benin, had become a strategic hideout for the insurgents. On the morning of August 13th, aerial observations detected a large group of terrorists congregating in the southern area of Nasugu, within W National Park, that cover the border area of Benin and Burkina Faso. The terrorists had meticulously camouflaged their base under the dense forest canopy, constructing a network of tents and huts that blended seamlessly with the surrounding environment. These makeshift structures were supported by solar installations, providing the insurgents with a self-sustained power source, which enabled them to remain hidden from detection for an extended period. The combination of their strategic location, advanced camouflage techniques, and self-sustaining infrastructure underscored the complexity and sophistication of the terrorist network entrenched within this remote area. The weekend's operations included detailed mapping of the terrorist base, revealing the full extent of their camouflaged positions. Further reconnaissance allowed for the identification of key targets, including a small house and groups hiding under large trees. These targets were struck with precision, causing significant disarray among the terrorist ranks. Several groups of terrorists attempting to escape the initial bombardments were tracked meticulously. One group, mistakenly believing they had reached safety at the edge of the forest, was hit with another large missile, leading to their complete neutralization. Another small group, found deep within the forest, met the same fate through effective missile strikes. On Monday morning, operations continued with renewed vigor. Two key terrorist positions were targeted around 4 a.m. The first position, located near Marigo, was obliterated by a large missile strike. The second position, similarly struck, resulted in the permanent neutralization of the occupying terrorists. These early morning strikes underscore the relentless and systematic approach of the Burkinabe military in eradicating terrorist threats. The current operations are part of a broader strategy to ensure that all remaining terrorists in the region face a similar fate. The defense forces have made it clear that any criminals persisting in their disruptive activities will be met with overwhelming force. This development holds particular significance, occurring just weeks after high-ranking officials in Burkina Faso's military reported intelligence that pointed to the presence of rebels being trained in the northern regions of Benin with the intent to launch coordinated attacks on Burkina Faso. According to the intelligence, these training camps were believed to be equipping and organizing insurgents, preparing them for cross-border incursions. The claims, however, were swiftly disclaimed by Benin, which firmly denied any involvement in supporting rebel activities and insisted that no such camps existed within its territory. Despite Benin's denial, the situation had already heightened tensions between the two nations, adding a layer of complexity to the already volatile security environment in the region. Earlier in the year, in response to these escalating threats and growing concerns over cross-border terrorism, the Benin military took a proactive stance by deploying troops along its border with Burkina Faso. This move was officially described as a defensive measure, aimed at preventing the infiltration of terrorists fleeing from Burkina Faso, where counter-terrorism efforts had been ramped up significantly. The intensified military operations in Burkina Faso had led to increased pressure on terrorist groups, pushing them to seek refuge in neighboring countries. The government of Benin emphasized that their actions were necessary to safeguard the nation from the potential threats posed by these fleeing insurgents. The operation within W Park, where terrorists had established a well-camouflaged base, underscores the persistent and evolving threat posed by these groups who continue to exploit the remote and rugged terrain along the Burkina Faso-Benin border to evade detection and carry out their activities. This situation has further strained relations between the two countries, as Burkina Faso remains wary of the potential for external support to these insurgents, whether direct or indirect. The discovery of the terrorist base so close to the border, equipped with advanced infrastructure, such as solar-powered installations, suggests a level of organization and support that is deeply concerning to regional security officials. The incident also highlights the broader challenge faced by West African nations in dealing with the porous borders that insurgent groups exploit to sustain their operations. The Benin-Burkina Faso border stretches approximately 306 kilometers, 190 miles, through varied terrain, including savannas and semi-arid regions. This diverse landscape creates both strategic opportunities and challenges for border security operations. The Benin military is fully mobilized, with troops, vehicles, and aerial support deployed across strategic points along the northern frontier. The current deployment in the region now exceeds 4,000 soldiers, a significant increase from previous numbers. This bolstering of forces is complemented by the acquisition of advanced equipment, including individual protection gear, armored vehicles, and aerial reconnaissance drones. We are determined not to cede any square centimeter of our territory, General Bagidi asserted.
De notre destination.
Vous voyez cette poche qu'on appelle Kouroukwalou, 68 km². Étant donné qu'il n'y a plus de présence de forces de défense et de sécurité du Burkina, donc cette zone est devenue un boulevard. Et les terroristes en ont profité. Les villages du Bénin pour poser des actes de terrorisme, poser des IED, attaquer, considérablement réduit. On n'a plus eu de ces genres d'infiltration. Et toutes ces infiltrations qui sont remarquées sont immédiatement réprimées parce que nous sommes...
Benin's northern borders with Burkina Faso and Niger represent both a strategic frontier and a critical challenge in the fight against terrorism in West Africa. The government has assured citizens that all necessary measures are being taken. Some time ago, we were around 3,000 men. Today, when we add up all the personnel that we have, we exceed 4,000 men on the ground. We have received a lot of individual protection equipment and collective measures for the protection of the sites. I can tell you that the means are arriving in the theater more and more.
Des escobastions pour la protection des sites.
We are determined once again not to cede any square centimetre of the territory, and we are determined that the populations continue freely to go about their business and that everything is serene. Border communities are being advised to remain vigilant and report any suspicious activities. As anti-terrorism operations continue across the Burkina Faso, the military remains resolute in its efforts to eliminate all terrorist elements within the country. The recent victories not only bolster the security of key regions, but also serve as a powerful deterrent to future terrorist activities. The nation's defense forces are determined to maintain this momentum, ensuring peace and stability for the citizens of Burkina Faso. The intense heat of the midday sun bears down on the heads of soldiers as they prepare for a high-stakes mission to escort a convoy through treacherous terrain. The atmosphere is thick with tension and determination as these brave men and women, members of Burkina Faso's elite security forces, face the daunting task ahead. They are not only responsible for their safety, but also for the lives of the civilians who rely on them for protection. Before departure, the commander of the GCPN gives clear instructions. Drive slowly and cautiously. The commandos must thoroughly search the dangerous areas along the escort's path. As the convoy moves forward, the surveillance drone spots two terrorists on motorcycles, likely on a reconnaissance mission to ambush the escort. The terrorists attempt to flee, but the soldiers are relentless. With swift and precise action, they neutralize the threat, ensuring that the enemies will no longer carry out any reconnaissance missions. The situation has grown even more precarious following a recent attack in the region, which has left local dwellers increasingly reliant on the security personnel conducting operations around their villages. In a display of both desperation and trust, several locals have lined up to follow the security convoy back to their respective villages, seeking protection from the lurking dangers. This adds another layer of responsibility for the special forces, who must now ensure the safety of not only their comrades, but also the civilians who have entrusted their lives to them. The convoy must navigate kilometers of rough terrain where ambushes and roadside bombs are common threats. The soldiers are acutely aware of the risks. Only courage, vigilance, and expertise can ensure that they return safely. As the convoy continues, they pass through an abandoned village. Once a bustling community, it is now a ghost town due to the ravages of terrorism. However, the presence of Burkina Faso's defense forces has begun to restore a sense of normalcy. Life is gradually returning, and the villagers once driven out by fear are slowly reclaiming their homes. The reconquest of this area is a small but significant victory in the ongoing battle against terrorism. Despite the successes, the challenges are far from over. After hours of travel on unpaved roads, the convoy encounters a minefield. The team, well trained in mine clearance techniques, successfully detects and neutralizes several explosive devices, allowing the convoy to continue. Mines are a persistent threat, often slowing down progress and adding to the already considerable difficulties faced by the soldiers, but the dangers extend beyond just mines. The harsh climate with extreme heat, rain and cold further complicates their mission. Yet one of the most significant challenges is ensuring the security of the local population.
En tout cas, c'est des spécialités qui nous permettent d'avoir du succès sur le terrain et d'être opérationnels et de...
We were deployed in an area plagued by terrorism, where the population was in distress. But with our presence and the missions accomplished, we saw the people start to feel safe again.
Nous nous engageons en tout cas à ce qu'ils aient ces possibilités.
Infiltrated by terrorists, these communities are often difficult to navigate, with the enemy hiding in plain sight.
Beaucoup de collaboration avec les autres forces de défense.
We congratulate you on the work done so far. The commander begins, his voice steady and resolute. But much is still expected of you. Discipline and collaboration with other defense and security forces are crucial. Have confidence in this hierarchy that fights day and night for your safety and well-being. God bless you all and protect Burkina Faso. His words resonate deeply, serving as both a pep talk and a reminder of the gravity of their mission. Finally, after thousands of kilometers and countless hours on the road, the convoy arrives at its destination. They are greeted by colleagues at the base, their return marked by a mix of relief and exhaustion. Overall, the mission was successful, a soldier reflects. They began to return to their rural activities, and we were able to fulfill our mission. Now we are back at the base, ready to recover and prepare for the next operation.